Lots of absurdity to get to tonight. Hello, Glenn. Be with you in just a second, my brother. Let's do this, shall we? All right, so can you believe that you're watching a TV show like you would like a Comedy Central, except for you're watching it and I'm actually responding to you. It's not taped before a live studio audience. No. We're doing it live, people. It's called Rob Carson's What in the World? The show is available on Newsmax TV. It's on every weekend. Time is they're changing on the time because they're trying to figure out where it fits best. But the reaction that people are giving is very, very positive. Why? Because I'm a conservative, can be funny. I know, right? It's weird. It's kind of weird. I've had the reputation for a long time. I've had the reputation of being funny as a conservative for a long time. So let's get started. I want to say hi to Michael and Amy and Carolyn. If you would please share on social media. My show page at Facebook, Rob Carson Show, has been shadow banned for a week after being shut down for a couple of months. They're doing my very best to destroy me, and so F them. So I'm on this page. I'm also on Spreaker at Rob Carson's What in the World. Having some sugar-free pink lemonade tonight. Thank you. But let's get started. Let's get started with all the madness that's happening in the world. That madness is happening in Seattle, and just the absurdity, the childlike idiocy of it, the foolishness, the fact that this generation now feels like because they don't have a Vietnam, because they don't have a whatever movement, that they have to make up with something and they have to become victims. They have to be victims of everything. Everybody's a victim. You know what? Grow the F up, okay? We've never lived in a more prosperous time in the history of mankind. We've never lived in a better time in the history of mankind, and things have not gotten worse with regard to race since 1968. They've gotten so much better, but there are some people who want to create victimhood. They have pity on black people because they are white elites, and consequently, they underestimate them. There's a thing called the soft bigotry of low expectations. We'll get into that very shortly. A friend of mine named Chris Plant, he uses that expression on his show. I'll explain all of that and how this can never happen again. This can never happen again. A COVID-like shutdown can never happen again, and we cannot have our cities burn again for a perceived act of racism by a police officer. Okay, George Floyd should not have died. All right, we've established that. You've caterwauled, you've destroyed, you've wrecked. Black Lives Matter has made it act like there's somehow some sort of holier-than-thou group that has never committed an act. They are a terrorist group every bit as much as Antifa is. That said, let's get the good news today. Apparently, would you believe last week was the best retail sales the United States has ever seen. This comes on the heels of the largest employment gains in U.S. history last month. You cannot keep America down. Here's CNN's story of disbelief about retail sales.
We do have some breaking news right now. Stronger than expected retail sales in May as American consumers spend more and ease restrictions.
I'm Allison Camerata, your chief propagandist for tonight.
CNN chief business correspondent Christine Romans has the numbers for us. How does retail look?
You know, this was a bigger than expected jump here. 17.
Yes, nobody expected this because CNN makes it sound like everything is terrible all the time.
7% was the jump in the month.
17.7% jump in retail sales on the heels of, 2 point some odd million jobs created last month.
In terms of retail sales, we've never seen...
Pretty much sure that wasn't expected by CNN either.
A number like that.
We've never seen a number like that. Holy shit. Call the mayors. Call the Democrat governors. We've got to keep things shut down because we can't let the economy get too good because Donald Trump might get elected. That's basically it. And yet there are governors and there are mayors who are continuing this folly. And you know what? COVID cases are going to go up. They are going up. That's just the way it is. But this whole nonsense of shutting down cities, it is going away. Whether these politicians, it's gone. It's gone. The American people had enough of your crap, and it's gone. And we will develop herd immunity, but we're done with this crap. We're done with not being able to go to church. We're done with the hypocrisy associated with telling people they can't go to church and sending police to church parking lots to record license plate numbers. And then when a Black Lives Matter or an Antifa protest happens, then it's perfectly fine. Sick and effing tired of it. There is something big happening. There is an undercurrent. There is an anger. There is a I'm tired of the shit mentality going on because we've had a lot of people talking trash. These are academics. These are kids who have been in college the last 40 years. Well, not all but anyway, the last two generations have been in college being brainwashed by liberal professors to hate America, that everything in America is bad. I remember when I was in sociology class back in the late 80s at Northwest Missouri State, and I sat there as this woman said that I was guilty for slavery. And I think I was born like 100 years later. So that started a long time ago, and people are tired of it. People are tired of monuments being torn down. People are tired of businesses being tortured in a temper tantrum after a perceived injustice by a white police officer and a black man, which was not, it wasn't injustice in the case of George Floyd. Not so much in the case of Atlanta. We'll get to that very shortly. But people are sick and effing tired of it. They're tired of people kneeling during the national anthem. They're tired of people saying today, the San Antonio Spurs coach said that the American flag was a propaganda tool, and it didn't mean anything. I can't know exactly what he said. I wrote a meme about it. Yeah, well, you know what? Tell the guys who rose the flag on Iwo Jima. Tell the people who carried the flag in the battle so many times. Tell the families of soldiers who are buried around the country who put American flags on their graves every year that it doesn't mean anything. You asshole. You asshole. 3 New York City police officers hospitalized after ingesting a toxic substance at a fast food meal from Shake Shack. They were at Shake Shack. New York Police Patrolmen's Benevolent Association released a statement warning other officers to be on the alert for further toxic attacks. However, they're saying, it wasn't an attack. Here's a report from CBS 2 News in New York.
Breaking news: a possible hate crime against police is being investigated right now at a Shake Shack in downtown Manhattan. Sources tell CBS 2 3 officers became sick after having shakes from the restaurant tonight. Police suspect an employee.
Now on Facebook, I had several people say, "Well, it wasn't poisoning. It wasn't poisoning. It was a mistake." Yeah, this on the heels of a couple of National Guardsmen having glass baked into their pizza in Washington, D.C. about a week and a half ago. They were there to stop the rioting, okay? This on the heels of one police officer in Vegas being shot in the back of the head. He's going to spend the rest of his life on a respirator. He's never going to be able to feel anything from his neck down the rest of his goddamn life. This on the heels of a 77-year-old retired police officer being shot to death in front of a pawn shop store in St. Louis. Okay, police attacks are happening all over the country. Hundreds and hundreds of officers have been attacked. Tell me this was a mistake.
He may have contaminated the drinks with bleach. Police say the officers remain hospitalized. Employees are being questioned. So far, no arrests have been made. A shake sample was taken to a lab for testing.
People are also sick and tired of the police being wrecked This whole defund the police thing is not a popular movement with the American people. It is an insane notion of the radical left. And it's another reason why the American people have a deep set anger right now going into this election, and they're done. And they're effing done. And this happened in New York City, where the jackass mayor, Bill DeBlasio, the worst mayor in America, possibly in U.S. history, decided to weld play park doors shut. I guess he put locks on them, and they welded them shut to keep kids from playing there with their parents. And now this apparently is a place being used a lot by Hasidic Jews. This is on the heels of Bill DeBlasio having police raid Hasidic Jewish funerals while doing nothing about Black Lives Matter protests, which makes him an anti-Semite. Here they are welding the doors shut. Bill DeBlasio praised his daughter for being arrested at a violent anti-cop rally about a week ago. He was proud of her. He was proud that she was out in public, elbow to elbow with the sweaty mob. Hey, kids, can you say it with me? This is an example of the mayor of New York being a dick. Spell it with me. B-I-L-L. Dick. And here are some of the neighborhood people cutting through the lock.
Hold on. Open it up right. More right.
There you go. Come on in and kids plays. I think hashi means teeter-totter in Yiddish. I could be wrong. I could be wrong. Could be wrong, ladies and gentlemen. Here's DeBlasio talking about why that is breaking the law, even though he went to lots of protests and everything. Yeah, this is breaking the law.
Yeah, we're not going to allow people to take
breaking the law
take the law into their own hands. It just doesn't work. So people are not allowed to open up a playground that's not yet available to the public. It's for a reason.
Well, they just did it, jackass.
Look,
what about tearing down a statue? Is that okay, tearing down a statue but not cutting through a lock that you welded?
I was very sympathetic in the beginning to every parent, as a parent myself, why people wanted to be on those playgrounds. We tried to make it work. It wasn't.
Spell it again. D-I-C-K. Bill.
Working
that was the opposite.
Effectively. Right now, we're not going to make a change with the playgrounds until we get to phase 2. Now, phase 2, as everyone knows, could be as early as June 22nd.
Now, of course, we went by phase 2 for Black Lives Matter and the George Floyd protest. We skipped there like phase 8 there, But now we're going back.
And I've said I think it's going to take a little longer than that, just to make sure we're absolutely certain.
You're screwed, dude. It's over for you. It's over for you and your regulations. Hey, the police are not behind you. I didn't see any police when the bolt cutters were out there, okay? The police are no longer with you, you piece of shit. They never were. They never were with you, and now they're really not behind you. 600 plainclothes officers relieved of duty in the last 2 days. The budget cuts of the police department in New York City are gigantic and dramatic. Morale for police departments around the country, especially L.A., plummeting. Police officers walking off the job, leaving SWAT teams saying, screw you, you're on your own. So Bill DeBlasio, you are done, man. You are done. Nothing you say or do will work. Even if you tried to call in the National Guard, it wouldn't work because they wouldn't go because of you. Screw you. Oh, here's Bill DeBlasio being booed at the George Floyd Memorial without a mask on, by the way, and not exactly honoring safe social distancing.
George Floyd cannot have been allowed to die in vain. We have to make a change in this city and this country. I thank you. I thank you for being here for a change, to build a change.
Look at all the people looking the other way.
But let me tell you something. For all of us who have not walked a mile in the shoes of
That is not 6 feet between each of those people. And Bill DeBlasio is not wearing a mask.
the black community or communities of color, for all of us who know white privilege, we need to do more because we don't even fully recognize the daily
Blah, blah,
pain
blah. Nobody's
that
listening to you. There's nobody listening to you because you are a fool. Speaking of fools, here's the governor of New York talking about how because people aren't honoring social distancing measures, even though, again, Black Lives Matter and George Floyd's protests and statues being torn down and stuff being wrecked, that's perfectly fine. But, you can't get your hair cut. Here is Andrew Cuomo talking about how he's going to take away business licenses.
A bar or restaurant that is violating these rules.
You ain't got enough enforcement right now, you jackass. You do not have enough support. I hope and pray that every business in New York says screw you to all of your idiotic rules. They haven't worked. They have not worked. You sent hundreds and hundreds, thousands of people to their deaths in nursing homes testing positive with COVID-19. You are responsible for twice as many deaths as 9/11.
Can lose their liquor license. State liquor authority inspectors are out. We have a task force of state investigators who are out. You can lose your liquor license. And that is a big deal for a bar or a restaurant. We are not kidding around with this. You're talking about jeopardizing people's lives. It's a legal violation. And the SLA inspectors are out there. I am telling you that.
We don't believe you anymore. We don't believe you anymore. You lied to us about how many people were going to die and how many people were going to be affected. You lied to us when you decided it was okay to go out and protest, even though businesses by the tens of thousands were driven out of business because of your idiotic shutdown. You were wrong about the numbers. You are wrong about people who were being infected. You are wrong about who was susceptible, and you did not protect the people who were. You effed up, and we don't believe you anymore. There's a storm coming in November. And if you think it's on the side of the anti-police and the Antifa and those would loot and burn and those who would tear down statues, if you think that's going to win, you're out of your effing nut. Hello, Felix. Hello, Scott. Hello, Carol. Lots of people watching. Please, will you do this right now? Take the link to my page right now, okay? Copy. Send it to people on Facebook, other social media, so they'll join me right now. Welcome people to a watch party, if you will. That would be great. That would be great. Oh, by the way, Governor Cuomo says that he wants New Yorkers to rat out social distancing violators. How well did that work for Bill DeBlasio? People send him dick pics. Love it, love it, love it, love it, love it, love it. This is a video that was posted by Matt Walsh and his caption, and this has happened time and time again. This has happened time and time again, and it cannot happen again. This can't happen again. Rodney King. There was an incident. I lived in Cincinnati in 2001 where a drunk black, he was high on a joint smoked with soaked in embalming fluid, and he passed out on a White Castle parking lot. And police came to got him, and they roused him, and he was very obese, and he came up swinging, and so they tased him, and he died because he was really high on PCP and whatever, and he was morbidly obese, and that's how he died. But it didn't stop Cincinnati from burning. And Eric Garner and Mike Brown. Mike Brown built on a lie. Hands up, don't shoot. Didn't happen. Didn't happen. It was a lie. Trayvon Martin was not killed by a police officer. He was killed by an armed man, neighborhood cop wannabe, and the reason being is because Trayvon Martin attacked him because he thought he was gay, trying to pick him up, and he tried to beat him to death with his head against the sidewalk, and George Zimmerman shot him. George Floyd should not have died. We've already established that. We know that. You didn't need to burn all the damn buildings. You didn't need to wreck Minneapolis. And you don't need to defund all the police departments because of the actions of that officer. By the way, there is a new. I have an article today. I posted it on Facebook of the 6 reasons why that officer will probably not be convicted of murder. And as much as you hoping that you can, and I think what the officer did was wrong. Okay, I do. And I've been saying that from the get-go. Still didn't stop me from losing at least 2 very good friends who now consider me a racist. And have said they don't want to have me in their house anymore. Hello to my niece Shelby, who's watching. Back to the piece from Matt Walsh. To all you tolerant liberals who displayed your wokeness by justifying rioting while sitting on your fat, comfortable asses, totally insulated from the damage, this is what you supported. This is on you. Congratulations, you despicable monsters.
Look at this. Every grocery store looks like this. Every grocery store looks like this. Everything is either on the floor. Look at this.
That's a Walmart.
Can't even get no fucking food for my kids, G. Look at this. Came in the store to try to buy something because I'm not a thief. Look at this. In my hood, can't even get no food for my kids. Babies need milk. Can't even get nothing for my kids, bro. I feel like an animal, and black people made me feel like an animal. Y'all did this to us. Look at this. Look at this. Look at the store.
Unreal.
Look at this. But this is what we're fighting for. This is honoring George Floyd. People who already couldn't feed their kids, now they really can't feed their kids.
This is what happens every single time. Every single time. We saw it in Ferguson. We saw a temper tantrum. We saw people with suddenly with the ability to overwhelm the police department and steal everything in sight. They're not race warriors. They're thieves. They're common, miserable, wretched thieves. And the people who do this, they come in, they throw a temper tantrum, they wreck their own neighborhoods and ruin life for the good people there. Ruin the lives of good people there, and it happens again and again. And this was the biggest and the worst yet, and it can't happen again.
Look at this. I am so devastated right now. I am so devastated right now, G.
Does this not break your heart? Does it make me a racist that I ache for this woman who is not my color? That she feels desperate because some opportunist a-holes did it again. I guess I'm a racist. To my friends who don't want me in their homes anymore.
This is not okay. For us to have to live like this, we do stupid shit like this all the time, and we so black proud. We so black and proud that we ain't gonna never be honest and be real about what's really going on. Y'all are so wrong for this.
Now, because I'm running this video of an African American woman in her grocery store in her neighborhood who's heartbroken, I'm going to be called racist again.
You came in
because being called a racist. When you're called a racist, it shuts down the conversation. When you're called a racist, then it's all over. When you're officially designated a racist, you're no longer allowed to come and see your friends. When you're officially designated a racist, you can't comment anymore. And there's a whole lot of that going on. You're a racist. You're a this. You're a that. And it's supposed to be the end of the discussion. Well, guess what? I ain't shutting up.
Your neighborhood and fucked up your shit. I'm not a thief. I'm not coming in this store and stealing nothing. And ain't nobody gonna turn me into no animal or make me feel like a thief. Y'all let them white folks send y'all off once again. Look at all this shit on the floor. Look at all this on the floor. Everything. Everything's on the floor. Tissue. We couldn't even find tissue less than 2 months ago, and now it's on the floor.
There you go. There you go. Could you imagine living there? Can you imagine being somebody who takes pride in your house and your family and having to live there? And Michelle Obama, she used to say, these neighborhoods, they have food deserts. They're food deserts, like somehow some sand blew in and it was hot, and suddenly this is a natural phenomenon. Do you know why they're food deserts? Because of that crap you just saw. Because every few years when there's a perceived injustice, a bunch of people get together and wreck the place, burn buildings, destroy livelihoods like they did in Minneapolis. There are companies that are never coming back. This on the heels of this bullshit shutdown with regard to COVID-19. Yeah, they're food deserts because these neighborhoods burn down every couple of years. They're wrecked, they're destroyed, and now you combine terrorist groups like Black Lives Matter and Antifa. And Antifa is filled with rage because they hate Donald Trump and the fact that he won the election, and they are European-style anarchists, even though they say they are not. They are not fascists. They're fascists. And I might say again, the American people, black and white and Asian, and other colors and creeds, are sick of this crap. They're done with it. And if you think that supporting Antifa and Black Lives Matter and tearing down monuments and wrecking buildings and stealing stuff and making lists of demands and defunding the police department, if you think that's going to work, good luck, sunshine. You're going to be even more pissed off the day after election when Donald Trump is swept into office and both houses of Congress become Republican. We saw the shooting of Rayshard Brooks. He was in a Wendy's in Atlanta. He was so drunk he passed out in the drive-thru. The police approached him, rapped on the window twice to wake him up, talked to him for a half an hour, very peacefully. Decided that he was too drunk to do anything, so they took him into custody. That's what happens when you're drunk. And you're in a vehicle, and you were proven to be in the vehicle when you were drunk, and all that. And they went to put cuffs on him, and he fought and he wrestled and he took police down. Let's see if I can find this piece that I posted today on why there's a good chance that. Actually, I'm not going to do that right now. We'll just talk about Rayshard. So Rayshard Brooks wrestled the police, punched one of the officers pretty good, took a taser, and tried to tase the police officer. He's running away, turned around, pointed the taser at the police officer. The police officer shot him. Here is a sheriff in Georgia, former Georgia sheriff. No, actually, he is a current one. Officer Garrett Rolfe talking about why it was justified for the police officers to shoot this man, Rayshard Brooks, who tried to tase him.
Required every officer who carries a taser to be tased with it so that you understand the incapacitation. 5 seconds, 1001, 1002, 1003, 1004, 1005. That's 5 whole seconds that if an officer is hit with that taser, that all of his muscles will be locked up and he'll have the inability to move and to respond. And yet he is still responsible for every weapon on his belt. So if that officer had been hit, he still has a firearm on his side, and the likelihood of him being stomped in the head or having his firearm taken and used against him was a probability. And so he did what he needed to do, and this was a completely justified shooting.
So you think lethal force here was necessary?
It's very necessary. The Fourth Amendment allows it. This is the objective reasonableness standard.
Walk in a police officer's shoes before you shoot your damn mouth off. And yes, I didn't mean to use it. Shoot your mouth off. You know what I'm saying? Hello, Scott. How are you? Scott says, met you a few years ago at a mid-century modern house tour. I remember that, actually. Love the work you're doing. I appreciate that. And I want to do that again now that the COVID has been lifted. Yeah, it's kind of nice. The old COVID, everybody's going to die. Travis and Greg and my niece, Shelby. Hello. I don't know if Mom's watching tonight. Hopefully Mom's watching tonight. Anyway, thanks for joining me, guys. I appreciate it. I do have some lighter stuff I'm going to share very shortly, but I want to cover this stuff because I think it's important because we've got to bring the country back together. And you know what? It ain't going to be about getting together with Antifa. That ain't going to happen. They need to have their asses stomped into the ground. That's it. They need to be stopped. They need to be shut down. Seattle, and I thought, just let Seattle burn. That's fine. Then I saw a business just down the block get attacked by Antifa. And the business owners found the guy who did it, and the protesters surrounded their business, going to burn it down, and insisted the guy get let go. No police department. The people who own the business called the police 19 times. The police said, you're on your own, brother. You're on your own. Come on, man. Yeah, let's just try it without the police. Pardon me, a little frog there. I'm done. I'm done with the defund the police. I'm tired with the demonization of the police. I support my police. I support the police. I support them. Of course, I do not support the few bad police that are out there, but by God in heaven, I support our police. I will never not support our police in general and our first responders and our military ever, ever, ever. And you hate America, leftists, you all can go to hell. Police officers, what do you do when you get up in the morning? You put your pants on, you put your skirt on, you whatever, and you go to work. And you sit in traffic, and you don't think about the police officer right there who's, covering the accident scene that you're driving by and looking at, leering at, wondering what happened. As he just left his family a little while ago to find a dead person in the car or a dead family. And he's got to go home tonight and try to erase that from his mind as his daughter runs to him at the front door. Put out of his mind the horror that he sees during the day, or the derision, or the anger, or the name-calling, or the whatever. By God in heaven, I support our police and Antifa and you morons in Congress like AOC and Ilhan Omar. Y'all can suck it. I'm going to lead I support the police movement. Because I'm not going to let one bad officer in Minneapolis cause the mayhem that has happened. This can't happen again, and we have to stop it. In Albuquerque. So, no. I got a little comic break here. Al Sharpton, of course, attended funeral recently. Actually, I'm going to save that. Let me just save that real quick here. No, I'll go ahead and do it. He attended George Floyd's funeral, and what he does is that's what he does. He is a. I used to call Jesse Jackson Action Jackson because whenever there was some sort of perceived injustice, they'd leap into action. They'd lead a parade. Al Sharpton, that's all he does. He's an MSNBC commentator. The only reason they've given him a job is because they're afraid they'll get their asses sued off if they fire him, and they're afraid to not give him a show because he'll hold them hostage. His show is terrible. He's a non-talent. He sucks. He is a pimple on Martin Luther King Jr.'s, But this is Al Sharpton. This is Al Sharpton after leaving the big George Floyd funeral, and he's probably wearing about $5,000 suit here, getting on his private jet because he's down with the struggle.
Ain't that some shit?
Yes.
We're just small town.
And he's like, I know it was a lovely service. I was there. Yes, it was a lovely service, and Is the Dom Perignon, is it chilled as I get back from the funeral? And, of course, I made it political.
We're just small town hypocrites.
What? Oh, I'm being filmed getting on a private jet there.
And that scholarship was a ship that sailed.
Well, there you go. Al Sharpton, he is down with the struggle. Have you ever been on a private jet? Flown in a private? Neither have I. Because that's crazy because I'm white privileged and, I think, just real quick, a little dog whistle between me and the other white privileged people here. Did you drive your Rolls Royce to work this morning, wear your top hat and your monocle like we always do? Yeah. And did you fly your private jet just to get a peanut butter and jelly sandwich in New York like we always, wink, wink, do? Did you carry your white privilege card with you? Okay. Want to make sure. Now back to the show. Hi, everybody. It was just me talking to the white people in the audience. Nothing Nothing to see here. So this idiot in New Mexico, the Antifa, they were tearing down a monument. I guess there was some conquistador, and people are pissed off about the year 1500, I guess. And everybody's dead, I believe, pretty much everybody. 500 years. Yeah, everybody's dead from the 1500s when the conquistadors came in and you know, did what they did. But there's a statue in Albuquerque and some people who are in their 20s now, probably even in their teens. They're pissed. They should call it pistery, because they're so pissed at history. Anyway, so these jackoffs were tearing down a monument, and some people got together because there's an open carry area, and you could take a gun with you to protect yourself. And so they decided to go and guard the statue and stand in the way of these morons. And these morons decided to go after a guy and in classic Antifa fashion, hit them with his only mode of transportation, which is a longboard, which is a skateboard. And it just so happens the guy didn't want to be beaten to death by the mob, and so he shot one of the bastards. Okay, there's one guy hitting him with a skateboard. Guy's off. He's exercising a great deal of restraint. He's got a handgun on his person. Now he's going to be chased by the mob. Now he could just leave, but he's going to be chased by the mob and attacked and presumably beaten within an inch of his life, which we've seen dozens of times just from the last couple of weeks. Get him! Get him! Get the F out. Get the F out. They're taking him down, beating on him. He's going to effing kill you. Okay, they're screaming, he's going to effing kill you. Now you see Jagoff there in the black? Okay, he's got a worthless degree if he even completed college. Probably didn't complete college. He's not smart enough. But anyway, he's going to beat this man with a skateboard. Boom. Okay, let's watch that again. So this guy, he's been wrestled to the ground. A bunch of people are on him. This guy with the skateboard is going to do what they always do and beat the snot out of him, possibly paralyze him, kill him. Maybe he'll be in a feeding tube the rest of his life, and he would have none of it. Bang, hit, hang, bang, hit, and bang, bang, bang. There you go. Listen to the idiot in the background still screaming. That's the guy who said, kill him, kill him, kill him. And now he's shrieking because his dumbass friend just got shot. By the way, he's in critical but stable condition. That's what happens when you mess with people who are law-abiding citizens who just happen to respect the Second Amendment. And you try to beat them to death with a skateboard. You get your ass shot. Too bad, so sad for you. I feel no pity for him at all. Not one little bit. Hello, Greg, and hello, Travis. And who else do we got here as they share the show? Amy and Jackie Verdun. Jackie, bonsoir, mon ami. Ma ami. How's Dave? Hope you guys are doing well. Just you guys in Columbia in general, I should say. Oh, here's this is the Albuquerque mayor. He's saying that they're going to create a third department for first responders who will take calls from homeless people, addiction, and mental health. And apparently, this is going to be a public health approach to safety. They're going to include social workers to send to 911 calls instead of police officers. Here's the mayor of Albuquerque.
For us going forward, we have to make sure,
and it gets quirkier every day,
that as we listen to the communities, we work with council to build out this department. And as we continue to work under DOJ reform, we've got to make sure that we are trying to do something meaningfully different than what we have been doing before. And
what did the police do wrong in Albuquerque that you felt that the police needed to be overhauled in Albuquerque?
We've learned by testing out these different areas that this is really...
Here's another one of these closed caption guys that are just bizarre. He's like, watch this. Here we go.
And we've learned by testing out these...
Well, he's a little bit nuts. I don't know what he's doing there. Does the mayor stick his tongue out when he does that?
Areas that this is really the culmination.
Okay, this is something new. It makes no sense. Hello.
And we
You put the social worker here and hopefully he won't get shot. All right, okay. I know, makes no sense to me either.
When you call 911 all across America, the response is fire or police or both.
Okay, I can't listen. The audio's not that good anyway. It's just not that good. Not good, said Captain Kirk. Inside D.C., New York information bubble. Donald Trump is a goose. Senate Republicans are toast. This according to PJ Media. The headline is Trump will win in a landslide, says non-D.C. Republicans. And isn't that what happened the last time? Non-D.C. Republicans got Donald Trump elected. Interviews with over 50 state, district, and county Republican party chairs depict a version of the electoral landscape that is no worse for Trump than 6 months ago and possibly slightly better because, when you kick a man when he's down, you defend the man who's been kicked. When you have a 17.5% increase in retail sales last week and 2.9 million new jobs created last month, despite Democrat governors trying to shut down states like New York, Michigan, and California, and making them kind of no longer important to the nation's economy, people are going to say, okay, I told you why just a few minutes ago. You think this anti-police, pro-Antifa, tearing down statues, kneeling during the national anthem, saying the United States flag is meaningless. Oh, you think that's going to win? Nope. The tenor of the political article is, wait. Okay, here we go. The more bad things happen to the country, it just solidifies support for Trump, said Philip Stevens, GOP chairman, Robeson County, North Carolina, one of the several rural communities probably filled with racists in that swing state that shifted from supporting Barack Obama in 2012. They weren't racist then. To supporting Trump in 2016. We're calling him Teflon Trump. Nothing's going to stick because, if anything, it's getting more exciting than it was in 2016. This year, we're thinking a landslide. Landslide. The landslide will take you down. Mayor of Olympia, Washington was perfectly fine when Black Lives Matter was just wrecking the place and it was, a downtown businesses spraying graffiti and all that stuff. And the Antifa. But then it came to her house. Then it was not so cool. Mayor Cheryl Selby made comments after her home was vandalized on Friday with Black Lives Matter graffiti, despite her already displaying support for the movement. She says, I'm really trying to process this. It's like domestic terrorism. It's unfair. It's perfectly fine when it's businesses downtown, because evil capitalism and all that stuff. But now when it's my house, then it becomes terrorism.
But we start with new video of the Olympia mayor's home being vandalized.
If you try to placate these people by putting your Black Lives Matter and your rainbow flag and your all this stuff in your window, it doesn't matter because the more you subjugate yourself, the weaker you look. And you will not decrease your chances of being targeted by these a-holes.
Happened during protests last night.
And, of course, this is a white kid. This is a white kid trying to probably make BLM look bad because they're Antifa.
You can watch closely. There's this one person who appeared to spray paint.
Selby, who is white, had previously issued a statement in support of peaceful protests that criticized police for the May 25th death of George Floyd. Quote, every day since his murder, our county is shaken, convulsing between fear, rage, and nausea. Really? No, not really. We should feel sick. Those of us who hold the most microphones in our communities should feel nauseous. Hold the most microphones should feel nauseous. What the hell?
Did BLM by the door there. The mayor sent us this video, and it also looks like a sign saying.
How do you spell How do you spell BLM? How do you spell that? It's what the Antifa guy's saying. Oh, what should I write? A?
BLM, which is obviously stood for Black Lives Matter throughout these protests, was already in her window. We are also being told.
Is that right? I think he's talking to somebody in the car.
That a person was chanting.
Or she. It could be a she. Could be, I don't know. Whatever.
Abolish the police while outside her home.
Oh, that's abolish. She had to look to a friend to spell the word abolish.
We're working to talk to the mayor to find out more about this and, of course, contacting the police for more information and where they stand in this investigation.
Okay, there you go. Suddenly terrorism. It's like Democrat Mayor Bill DeBlasio saying that you can't play in a park, but Antifa BLM protest is perfectly fine. Go spray paint a building, go wreck a business. Perfectly. Don't come into my house and spray BLM. The CHAZ zone, jazz hands, in Seattle, Capitol Hill Autonomous Zone is a chaotic place where rapes, violence, robberies are taking place. We'll get to that in just a moment. But somebody actually had the cojones to carry an American flag into the CHAZ zone. Now, the reason why he wasn't beaten to death, or at least attempted to have been beaten to death, because he's a black guy.
Black Lives Matter! Black Lives Matter!
Still pretty ballsy that he did it, though. I think people call him a race traitor in this because he's carrying the American flag. Again, do you think people are going to vote for this?
Keep on walking, you race traitor ass bitch!
It's a white guy saying, "Keep on walking, you race traitor ass bitch."
Race traitor! Race traitor! Race traitor!
Why is there nobody chanting along with me? What? I'm trying to shame him. I mean, what? He's a racist bitch.
Race traitor!
Yeah, nobody's chanting with your buddy. Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Is that your boyfriend, race traitor?
Yeah, that kind of went over like a lead balloon, or in your case, a balloon filled with urine that's thrown at police officers. Here's a little bit more of these guys. Oh, this is great. This is this jackass wearing a Russian, presuming like a submariner's hat or whatever. It's a classic Russian communist garb, saying that that the American flag is offensive.
Africans here in the territory of America, and when you fly that flag, it's offensive to me. It's offensive to
You know what's offensive to me? That you're wearing that fucking relic from the USSR, from the Soviet Union, where Joseph Stalin killed 60 million of his own people. Or after World War II, Russian troops raped and murdered their way through Germany, the women of Germany, and terrorized them. The country that would shoot people to death for trying to escape East Germany. I find that offensive, you ass.
Then why do you live here? I don't have a choice. I'm trying to leave here.
Cuba is 90 miles off the coast of Florida.
I'm trying to bring this shit down.
So instead of trying to change America, why don't you just leave?
Well, that's not a very democratic spirit. Yeah.
What? Your hat is not democratic.
That's not democracy.
It's not democracy.
Well,
Was he just on the? Wasn't he just the guy who yelled at the black guy with the flag?
Like a Nazi.
It's like a Nazi. I'm drinking out of my Starbucks here. I'm a communist, but I'm drinking out of a Starbucks cup.
Well, no, it's not. I mean,
No, it's
it
not.
is. You
You
guys
need to
took
put this
over
flag
6
down.
blocks.
It's
6
Yeah,
blocks. I'm
6
here. You know
blocks.
what? I'm here to support him. Okay. Well,
Okay, well, I'll talk to him.
Yeah. I mean,
What a moron. Here's a little bit. I'm done with that. I'm done with the idiots there. Oh, this is pretty funny. This is some white libs who were at the CHAZ, Jazz Hands show. Before that, listen to this. The Capitol Hill Autonomous Zone, where they're ruling themselves and they don't need public works and they don't need the police and all this stuff. There was a call being made because a dumpster was on fire. The independent citizens of the autonomous zone were concerned about the blaze, so they put out the fires themselves because they're autonomous. No, actually, they tried to call the Seattle Fire Department, and the fire department actually did show up. Merriam-Webster dictionary definition of autonomous is having the right or power of self-government. But you see, these are children. These are children. And they are. And in fact, it's kind of an insult to children, because some kids, my kids, are a lot more self-sufficient than these idiots. So preacher Bevelyn Beatty got into a conversation with a group of white privilege types, white guilt types at the CHAZ rally about why she wouldn't vote for Joe Biden. She makes a good case for why the Democrat Party has been awful. And to be quite honest, the Democrat Party has had a very long time to try to make things better in the black community, and they've only made it worse. They were the party of slavery. They were the party of Jim Crow. They have been the party of destroying the black family, the Great Society, Lyndon Johnson, destroyed it. The Democrat Party, they use a thing called the soft bigotry of low expectations. And I'm going to explain that in just a moment. They treat black people like children, like they can't help themselves, and it's a shame. But here is preacher Bevelyn Beatty.
I would be in the same position you're in, so I'm not even mad at you, baby, for feeling like fake news. This is the thing. I know people don't like Trump. I understand that. But let me tell you something. If I had to pick between him and Joe Biden, I'm not voting in Joe Biden. You want to see a bunch of black
No, guys, put your skateboards away. She's black. We can't beat her to death.
people go to jail by the next 4 years? Put Joe Biden in. Watch what happens. You want to see black men get killed substantially? Like you've never seen before? Put Joe Biden in and watch what happens. These Democrats, and I'm sorry to say this, I'm not trying to be racist, but they hate black people. These are the same people who fought to keep slavery in. These are the same people who built the KKK. These are the same people who hated us from the beginning. The Republican Party is the party of the blacks. Blacks free. The Republican Party is the only party that...
But that's not what CNN and MSNBC and ABC and CBS and PBS say.
The black people actually assisted in finding. But all of that history has been torn away. People say, oh, there was this big switch. There was never a big switch.
This is important. Listen.
The union won because we had grown in the industrial era. So we were able to get trains and get supplies back to our soldiers while the Confederate was still riding horses. They were not able to get supplies back fast enough, right? So what happened was once slavery was abolished in the South, the people in the South could no longer make their money from slaves. They had to move to the North to work in the industry to produce. And so the people in the North that already had established themselves in the industry moved to the South. And so that's where it was a transfer.
That is a very tidy and very nice explanation.
For people coming from the South to the North and people coming from the North to the South. There was never a big switch. So the same Democrats who hated black people from the beginning are the same ones who hate us now. And they use our cause. How did Black Lives Matter turn into something about LGBTQ? When blacks really don't support that. We're conservative. We're really not about that. Not only that, we don't support abortion. We're about working.
Then why do they always put abortion clinics in black neighborhoods? Did you ever notice that? Yeah, because you see, Planned Parenthood was established by a racist, eugenicist. Margaret Sanger hated black people. She was a virulent racist. She created it to kill black babies in the womb. That's why when you go to places like Columbia, Missouri, where I started in radio, there's a Planned Parenthood in a black neighborhood. Cincinnati, Ohio, happens there. Chicago, I've seen them there too. Minneapolis, amazing. Washington, D.C., especially.
But this is the black culture. We ain't never been about that. Not only that, we're not about feminism.
No, we're not.
Black women marry their husbands and respect their husbands. That's what we on. We're not on this, I do what I want. We don't do that. That's not our community. And you and I...
Now, that doesn't mean that black women are not strong with regard to a marriage. Well said. This is the kind of subjugation that's going on around the country. This is I don't know who this prankster is, but he actually got, and there are white people who are willing to do this in Rockville, Maryland. There was a group of hundreds of white people who got on their knees and chanted, and there have been white people all over the country crying, weeping, saying they're sorry to black people, even though they've never met them before. And most white people are descendants of people who came here after slavery. Yeah. And a good share of in fact, a larger portion of the population of the United States were born after 1968. Thought you should know that. But here's this guy. He's I guess, a prankster. He says he's from BLM. And look how easily just this suburban mom wearing yoga pants going for a little jog is. I'd kind of worry about her, to be quite honest. Just watch.
Excuse me. Hey, excuse me. I work for Black Lives Matter. I'm sorry. I work for Black Lives Matter. I'm sorry that I scared you.
Okay.
But since I work for that company, my CEO has told me to come out today and to bring you on your knees because you have white privilege. So if they see that a white person is getting on their knees, that shows solidarity for the situation. The situation.
She got on her knees faster than an intern in Joe Biden's office.
And could you just please apologize?
Or Bill Clinton's Oval Office.
For your white privilege? Just apologize?
I know. I'm trying to think of the right words to say because that's a big thing to say.
It's big. It's large in this country.
Incredibly.
You know, with this country, we have that president, Donald Duck, that clown in office.
Wow.
You know, he's brought a lot of bigotry, and you're not a part of it, right?
No.
I am glad you are wearing a mask because you've made such an incredible fool of yourself. You have made such an incredible fool of yourself. Here's where is this guy? Yeah, this is a piece that I saw on the web, and I think here we go. This is Dr. Conserva Mom.